I've been talking to younger millennials about this. I'm what you would call probably a middle millennial. My younger millennial friends are the perfect bridge to Gen Z. And this video is aimed at Gen Z, but it's for anyone that can see that there's something off about our culture, our job market, our economy. As I'm speaking, I'll show you some screenshots of funny memes, funny pictures that I've seen online. I used to not understand completely what Gen Z meant when they said, oh, everything you apply to, you need experience. A lot of you know I was in China for a few weeks, and it got me to think about stuff. Because obviously when you're in a foreign culture, you're plopped out of your regular environment. It gets your mind to think differently. This is what happened to me a few months ago, and it relates exactly to what Gen Z's going through. So a few months ago, as you guys know, I finally made the decision to leave LA after more than a decade. Obviously, you guys know I got a lot going on, so to seek full-time employment is something that it's going to be a different type of decision I make. But I don't mind getting jobs that also allow me to do my own thing. And that includes if there's a full-time job, then also I still have enough left over here after work to do my own thing. So I contact a person I knew back at a different company. Now she's at a different place now, but I still know her. And I tell her, I say, well, obviously we enjoyed working with each other. You're at this new organization now. Do you need someone who can do similar things? And she was excited. She's like, obviously, yeah, we remember you. You're great. And so I was like, okay. And I did what probably most people would never do. I'm like, well, I'll come visit you. Let's meet up, right? Basically that walk into somewhere to ask for a job. I did that. Most people don't do it. You know, I did the thing that a lot of parents, a lot of older people would say to younger people, why don't you just walk in someplace and ask for a job, right? I've done that before, by the way. I did that right after college too. So I guess this dude's the king of that because again, my mentality is a little different than the average person, right? You could say I'm on the spectrum. You could say it's just my upbringing. Sometimes you gotta fight for things. Long story short. So I meet up with this lady. I never met her in person because back then when I worked with her, it was remote. But obviously she remembered me. And we talked. She took me through their new platform. It's very different than before under a different company. So obviously, I'm going to need training, right? I'm going to need training. Whether you're the most qualified person or you're just starting out, you have to have, I would say, at least one day, at most probably a month to learn the ropes of a new position, right? Isn't that kind of what we've been taught? I think I've set the story up pretty well, right? So it just gets better, guys. I promise you guys. So eventually, we start, and I get an email from them. So, okay, I get an assignment. Imagine my thinking, right? Okay, it's my first day. Let me learn. That's what we've been taught as millennials. Gen Z, weigh in. Maybe you guys are taught differently. You guys are taught just pretend you know everything, you know, act like you're the boss. I don't know. We millennials were taught, try to learn, try to be humble because you're starting something new. You don't know everything, right? You don't know everything. So I'm asking questions like I'm being trained, and very quickly I get this response from them. It's almost like they're disappointed. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just over-interpreting it. I'm misinterpreting it. So, you know, I'm still asking questions. I'm just acting like I'm getting trained. And eventually, they stop everything. They're like, oh, let's give you another assignment later. And basically, what the lady who was a former boss of a boss of a boss, she sent me an email later. She's like, oh, we thought you'd just be able to start and pick it up immediately. We thought you wouldn't need training. We didn't realize that you need training. I'm reading that email. I'm like, wait a minute. Am I the one being dumb or are they gaslighting me? Because, guys, it's not like I'm going back to an old job that I've done for a long time, okay? She's at a new organization. I'm potentially joining this new organization. So I don't have any experience doing this work. It's different. And guys, even if you were to go back to an old job, you probably would still need 1 or 2 days to get acquainted. So this is some real weird level modern gaslighting going on. Let's be honest, like maybe I should have just acted like I knew everything, but the objective truth is I'm starting something new. I'm supposed to be learning. So it's not just about, oh, I should have like acted like I'm the big boss or I should have acted like I knew more than them. No, I objectively needed about a week to get acquainted, to know how their workflow is. Getting acquainted with something often is just understanding the workflow and then as a secondary understanding the culture. I realized I cut myself shaving. Darn. Obviously, I got a lot of things going on, so I was like, whatever. This is just something that it's their loss. I'm talking again. Shout out to my friend Matthew. My friend Matthew told me that he's a much younger millennial, so he's on the cusp of Gen Z. He said when he graduated college, it took him a year. It took him a year to get a job. He applied for a year because every position, even every entry position, needed experience. And he's like, how am I going to get the experience? And I think what Matthew told me, Matthew, weigh in if you want, is that eventually there was an organization that was basically going to take a leap on him. Basically, okay, we'll train him. We'll train him. Also, shout out my friend Saul. My friend Saul's slightly younger than me, but he's also, I would call him a younger millennial. He's also like, yeah, dude, every position he's applying to needs experience. And it's like, but where's the entry positions going? What I experienced was a version of that, right? The difference is I'm able to get my foot in the door, and then they pull that bullshit, I'm just going to use this word once, on me. Whereas a lot of people, before they can even get their foot in the door, they get that bullshit. So this is what Gen Z is going through. This is what younger millennials and Gen Zs are going through. See, a lot of you guys know, it used to be, like, for example, some of the platforms like LinkedIn and stuff, they used to be really, really good platforms. Like, you could connect with people. You could find jobs on there. Obviously, I haven't seriously used LinkedIn since 2017. And from what Matthew told me, by 2017, LinkedIn changed a lot. For me, it's almost like a fascination. I just want to see where the culture is, like the corporate culture, the work culture. But I can't even imagine people who have to use LinkedIn, like seriously use LinkedIn, what they're dealing with, how much stress they're under. Because you think people on Instagram, on Facebook have a mask? Wait until you see LinkedIn. People have to pretend they love their jobs. They have to pretend everything's fun and dandy. They have to pretend everything's going well. They have to be on their best behavior, right? So anyone, weigh in. You don't have to be Gen Z, millennial, whatever. Weigh in. What happened? Is it really just economics that's causing this? What is the causation? Was this something that was happening already before the economy went to SHIT? Because from what my friend Matthew told me, as a much younger millennial bordering on Z, it seemed to have already been bad in 2017. Again, 2017, I was employed, so like I didn't have to apply for a job in 2017, but maybe it was that bad already. I don't know. People keep saying, oh, it's the modern economy, but maybe there's something more to it. So yeah, I want to hear your stories, man. I want to hear your stories. To become a barista at a coffee shop, you need 5 years of barista experience. But then I think about, for example, when I was in Santa Monica back in the day, I saw a barista at the local Blue Bottle getting trained. She had so much trouble making a latte, and the lady training her, what was her name? I think her name was Heather. Let's just call her Heather. She looked like a Heather. Heather was being so patient with her, so professional with her, and I think it took her 2 days to learn how to get the little latte art until, oh my, that was what we were taught. That's just part of a job, is you have a little bit of a learning curve, right? But for some reason, it seems like nowadays they expect that learning curve to have been solved before you even start the job. You guys know what this is going to do, right? You're basically going to price and cause entry-level people to either stop caring or become entrepreneurs. So all these corporations, these companies, these whatever, they're going to have a problem in the future. The more you think about it, the more you're like, something's off, man. What the heck is going on? Anyways, guys, I look forward to your comments. I know this one's going to generate a good conversation in the comment section. Okay, bye-bye.